Hey guys, here with another episode of Road to Masters. This is in Platinum 2, so we're getting pretty high up there, and this is on patch 16.6 with all the unlock changes, and people are going really like fast 9 a lot of the times. I think for me, this meta really comes down to playing your spot correctly. Sometimes you're not the fast 9 guy, sometimes you're not able to go fast 9 in all your spots, and I think if you're good enough and you play tempo well enough and you're winning all your rounds, you totally can. But I don't think that's always the case, is kind of my opinion. So we're gonna see what happens in this game. Hopefully, I'm able to make better boards than people in my lobby, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I think the first thing I'm thinking about is, am I playing AD or AP? I think AP obviously is a bit stronger in this meta. Just there's so many good 5 costs. There are just so many good 5 costs that are AP between Annie, Ryze, Mel, Xerath, all that good stuff. And the AD ones are kind of the ones that have been good for a long time. So yeah, it totally depends to me what we're playing here. But we have Orianna unlock, which is a really good way to go about things. There's also Ionia potentially. Vayne is going to be my strongest board for a long time, but I'm not actually sure what we want to play here. Vayne will be my strongest board, but we're not really sure on components what's happening, so Vayne might just be too expensive for us to hold here. I think holding the Teemo pair might be more reasonable, or just holding anything else, really. The EXP Ionia is not great from my perspective, but it's not really clear to me what I should be playing here. If you're ready to actually start climbing, head over to tftgameplan.com. dpei's Disciples is my monthly coaching membership, and it gives you full access to my daily meta reads, weekly live Q&As, personalized feedback with unlimited spot reviews, and full access to my library of past coaching sessions, all for $15 a month. One-on-one coaching is also available if you want to improve even faster. Links are in the description below. You know, I could try something pretty interesting here. I think we could just try sacking my entire game and going for a bow. This one would allow us to unlock Bard on 3-2. Sometimes when you don't have direction, this could be good. We have 2 augments coming up, so that's definitely something to consider. I think Tiniest is out of the way for me. We would just be really committing to being as weak as possible for a long time. Good thing we scout. We see someone already is going towards Jinx. It's something I'm not keen on. I think we're going to go... team building's kind of interesting. I think we're going to go branching out and just see what happens here. Juggernaut Spat. That's pretty good. I'm not entirely sure what we should be making here. We're going to chill a couple more rounds here. There's really no reason to slam or not slam. We're going to lose this fight regardless. Yeah, I think people slam, but I think there's no reason to slam if it doesn't make a diff. I know that sounds obvious to say, but I think it's actually quite important. We have to be in Juggernaut here, so I think that's the main thing we're thinking about, is that we have to be in Juggernaut, which means that the Briar becomes really useful, and maybe these other ones become a lot less useful as a result. So good for something makes sense just insofar as, you know, we are going to have not a good early game, but I think the problem with it, the key problem with it, is that my Juggernaut Spat is going to be on a unit. But I guess I could just sack the entire round, but not something I'm super keen on doing here. I'm still not hating the Jinx plan. I'm thinking Air Axiom makes sense. I kind of want to play more towards AD here. Good for something still does make some amount of sense here. But I think I'm going to go Air Axiom. And we're just going to play a bit here. We're not really sure what we're playing towards yet. Yeah, we're still not entirely sure what we're playing towards, but I think a good safe bet here is Slayers. Makes a lot of sense here. It's not a super popular comp, but makes sense on my board. I'm a little concerned about this guy just hard forcing Jinx, even though they have a pretty good start to go fast 9 with, I would say. But we're gonna keep everything here. and just keep my EXP Ionia going. Something that I think people make a mistake of is sometimes they make 10 immediately. I still have a lot of rounds to play here, and I could have a strong board soon, I think is the important thing. I have a Briar or two. Don't want to make 10 for the sake of making 10 here if I can have a stronger board later on, right? Tickets, dead later caps. So this would lead us down Yordle, which it could be interesting. Feels a bit late. Prismatic Ticket makes a lot of sense just because I am a little bit slower, and we do have the choice. We can bully this guy off of Jinx here and just go for Bow, and Juggernaut Spat sounds pretty good with that being said. I think we are low tempo here, so I kind of am keen on a Priz Ticket. Crate Tree could also be really interesting, and unlocking this is also really interesting. I'm going to go for high variance here.
Keep a weather eye out.
Okay, so sorry, I have to take a look and digest my items a bit. I think we want to get rid of some of these guys. Sorry, so we're still deciding my direction, which is kind of interesting. I'm thinking that we can unlock Kennen and kind of be somewhere in here. But looking at my items, it's a bit confusing. I think we want to think about which emblems we want to keep and which emblems we want to get rid of here. Noxus obviously makes the most amount of sense. I think I'd be looking quite keen on a Scion here. But Noxus and Juggernaut are playable. If we're looking for something better, that's something we can totally do here. I might have complicated our game plan quite a bit, but to me, we're playing something AD here. I took Area Axiom. I was kind of planning on always playing something AD here. This person is most likely Jinx, but there's nothing saying that I can't get a different version of Jinx, right? Just Warwick or something like that. I think we want to keep the Juggernaut Spats. I think we might full want to reforge all of these. Yordles is kind of hard for us to play around.
To stop my
Yordles is kind of hard for us to play around. We should probably want to keep this Vi. How much do we value Ionia, I guess? It's giving us 1 XP a turn. I definitely want to get rid of Piltover. Let's see what my Piltover is out of curiosity. Yeah, we'll definitely want to get rid of that. I think I'm down to get rid of... The Noxus Spat can be played, though. The Noxus Spat can be played, so that's something to consider. I really should have reforged already. Yeah, I should have already reforged, to be totally honest. I think let's not think too much about the Ahri here. I think we want to really get rid of the Noxus emblem and the Yordle emblem. Noxus makes sense. Oh. Let's get rid of this one, actually. We want a loot streak here. So I should do something like this. Apologies. And I think we're down to do something like this. Keep the Zon out open. Play as weak of a board as possible. Sorry, I didn't go all the way here. But we're just going to 5 loss. I think my plan is really clear here to me. I want to play around, I think, Darius. Darius reroll here. And Draven is what I'm thinking about right now. Darius makes sense with Noxus in this, but we're going to have to see what happens. I think I definitely want to play towards AD. I already have Air Axiom, so I'm already set down that direction. We are a bit AFK here, but we're playing around 4 emblems here. We can think about this as we have 4 items, but we're loose streaking, so that's not really ideal. But I really want to play around this as much as possible. We also have Mundo, which is also pretty interesting. Let's just play all our units right now. We do have the Zon out, for sure. We have the Zon out. I just want to wait to reforge these. Maybe we get too many bad components. We're playing a bit greedier here, and really trying to loss streak and bounce back here, but I really want a clear direction. You guys, people always say, like, I have real hard problems with emblems, and I think That's completely fair. I think if we're good, we can kind of try to play around it as much as possible, but it is hard. I'm not saying it isn't hard, but you guys get to see me kind of do this live as we go through. So I see Rage Blade and Stone Plate is what I see. So those are all components I'm keen on keeping on. So let's toss this. So Rage Blade, DB, Stone Plate, Reforge. We have 2 Reforgers. I'm okay with all these components. Gunslinger makes me think about Warwick now. It really does. And Invoker is kind of interesting as well. Let's try playing around Darius reroll. I think it should be fun. If nothing else, I think it should be fun.
Return the crown, butcher, or I will carve it from your face.
It's totally possible we play around Zon, so let's... there is actually no more Augment. Let's just go ahead and commit. I think let's go ahead and commit here. I don't want to win this round, but I do want to kill more. Let's go ahead and commit here. I think I should have reforged one more time. I was thinking the Invoker was good enough, and Gunslinger is kind of like an item. I was thinking Gunslinger is kind of like an item here. But it's not quite, is it? We're going to level here. I don't want to keep losing too badly here. The synergies work out pretty well. I don't think I held on to the Jhin pair. I think we want to just kind of commit around our idea of playing around Draven. I think I actually really want to get rid of the Gunslinger emblem, but the Invoker emblem seems okay. I guess we're playing around Kobuko and LeBlanc, right? So maybe not. Maybe we should get rid of both of them again and YOLO reforge them into something better. In which case I should have kept the Zon units out again. So we kind of committed in the wrong direction here. We're thinking a lot about our emblem. It's really, really hard. But I think you just play around a couple key emblems is the thing with emblems, right? You don't need to play around all of them, but you just need to play around some of them. So let's go ahead and do that. This one and this one. We could obviously play around Warwick, but I want to do something a little more fun, personally. That is a bruiser already. This is a jug. Okay. Bruiser something for now. Bruiser, quick strike to you for now. Makes sense to me. These ended up being great emblems, I think. So I'm really excited. Hopefully this will be an interesting game. We ended up with what I think is pretty good Darius items. I think Juggernaut emblem's pretty interesting. The holder gains the Juggernaut trait, and when and 10% of the Juggernaut's max HP when they die. So it's a bit antithetical with Gargoyle Stoneplate now that I think about it. Because you want this to be the last unit that dies, so maybe Stoneplate is a bit weird with Darius here, but I think it's definitely interesting. We're gonna go ahead and... sorry. I just have to bring up my handy-dandy... That's an Embessa for the Embessa. That sounds pretty good to me. We have to bring up my handy-dandy guide over here. And play Noxus Reroll, one of my suggested comps. Sorry to hashtag add my own site, but I do think it is quite good. And I do suggest comps that I think are good and important in the game. Oh, wait, this was the LeBlanc version. Oh, never mind. We're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Ugh, I hate clicking onto units on myself. Kobuko really wants to go on board. It's Invoker. This guy also wants to go on board. I think we can drop out of Ionia here. And I think leveling does make some amount of sense, but why don't we just do this? This sounds pretty good as well. Sorry, we're going to have to go to my handy-dandy notebook over here. Wow, I sound like Dora the Explorer, huh? Where's Noxus at? This. And I'm not sure what flex units we really need, since we kind of got them all, as far as I'm concerned. We're going to have 4 Jug or 4 Bruiser here, so we're going to have a bit of both. right now we're just going to chill. I think there's no point leveling here. I do need a scout, but obviously I'm having a hard time with my own game here. But we have a reasonable, I would say reasonable board right now for stage 3. We have 5 Noxus, 4 Bruiser. Seems pretty good. I'm not sure exactly how to position this or where the Quick Striker spot should go, but we'll figure that out as we go along. For sure, it's something we're going to have to figure out as we go along. So this would be Vanquisher, Slayer. That's definitely interesting, right? Do we need more frontline? Ooh. This seems a bit stronger to me, that being said. Seeing a lot of crazy stuff over there. We could go Quicksilver here. I think I'd prefer not playing it, if possible here. Yes, my Draven's stuck in a corner, so CC is pretty valuable, but if I can somehow get even Shroud... Oh, actually, we do already have the important stuff. I guess Kraken would be really, really good here and ideal, if I could somehow spawn that into existence here. I think the biggest problem is that we don't have a Draven to unlock here. That's something we're gonna try to do sooner rather than later, I think. So we're 61 HP. The lobby HP is actually crazy low already. I think we're gonna... I can't level and roll here. So we're gonna have to unlock Draven later on into the game, which kind of sucks, I think. Just leveling here is 4 gold. I don't know if I want to spend 4 gold when I'm about to level for... when it's about to give me 2 gold automatically, just to roll a bit earlier. It's not something I'm that keen on. We're going to figure out our flex units. I'm not too stressed about it, personally. At least not at this moment. We do get the Kraken. We do get the Kraken. So I don't want to roll too much here. We're going to end up with weird items here on my Draven, but we're going to have to do this one by one, I think. We could also end up with a duo Emblems carry. I think the main items I want to have on my Darius are going to be... Gargoyle, Juggernaut Spats, maybe Bruiser Spat for now, and Quick Striker my Emblems. These emblems, again, are miniature items, so they are really important to think about. I think we're not going to think too much about this. I think Juggernaut can be played. I also think 2-star Bruiser can be played, but I'd rather play Kobuko. But you don't always get to choose. Bruiser doesn't make that much sense, right? Actually. Let's get rid of this stuff just for ease of purpose, I think. Defender also makes sense, now that I think about it. So here we're going to roll down till I think we hit 2-star units. Is that good enough to stop on? I think I'd like to roll for Darius. I kind of still need to figure out what Defender I'm also playing with this, or if I'm playing Juggernauts. We need Defender in, or is Defender kind of fake right now? I think we should move the Briar items. We definitely have better Briar items than it looks like, I think, here. I wonder if Tarek ever goes on board. Defender whole team is kind of too good. I think it also buffs my Otacon as well. There's an odd man out here, and I think it is Mundo. I'm not sure if we really needed the Mundo 2 here. Probably 7 Noxus is good enough. Azir is hard not to play, I would think. Sorry, this was my strongest board. That sounds totally good to me. How do we play the Azir? Sejuani seems also good on my current board. We might have to use this remover later. And let's just 3 at him, 1 dude. I wonder if I should sack some Juggernauts. I feel like I should be playing more towards Juggernauts and less towards these guys. I'm not sure if the Juggernaut spat is really getting high value on the Darius right now. All things considered. I think it's definitely good enough items right now, but it's nothing I'm super keen on. Wow, this guy's almost dead. It's nothing I'm super keen on is the thing. We see that my Darius dies pretty quickly, and he's more like an attack damage carry, so I'm thinking Juggernaut Draven might make more sense. But we do have 7 Noxus, and I think that is pretty valuable. This guy are all pretty dead, I would say. This guy. Yeah. So it's something we definitely want to think about. This could be BT for my Mbessa, or it could be just a Swain is honestly very, very good, I feel like. I think I'd be keen on taking just a Swain here. It's a lot better than LeBlanc, and I think more importantly, I'm starting to see that my front line is dying a little too fast. So we talked about how Juggernaut Emblem works, right? And I think I just want my other Jugs to die faster. And I think Bruiser Emblem can go on anything else later on, and we can get a better Darius item is kind of what I'm thinking here. So I want to put more of my Jugs in the front, have a little bit more equal distribution here. Maybe still have my strongest guys attacking on the bottom. So I think BT makes a lot of sense here. We can also BT Darius later. That sounds good to me. We also have Aatrox unlocked, which is interesting. How many Dravens are gone? Bestas are gone. This guy's helping me with the 3-cost reroll, no problem. Sorry, just to be really clear, this unlocks at 8, right? So that's not really a big deal right now. We only have 3 Draven, 3 Darius, so we're pretty far away is what I'll say. Are there anything that we really want to get rid of? We don't need the GP, right? In fact, I'm pretty sure that should be a Juggernaut of some sort. We need to get to 4 Jug, right? And we also still need Defender in here, which is pretty interesting as well. This Azir is kind of making my head hurt. I think this Bruiser we're going to get rid of as well. Hold the Jinx just to make this guy mad. Might be a good idea. Quick Striker. Ugh. There's too many things here. I think I just need to decide on the board, and I think the board... I think the board that I really want to be on is Nautilus 2 over GP here. Yeah, we really don't need Slayer for my Briar. This looks pretty. And Vanquisher for my Mbessa is obviously nice, but I'm not even having any items on him quite yet. So I think it's completely unnecessary at this point. So I think those are the main things we want to think about. You can only buff up so many of your units. You can't buff up your entire board, right? And I think we were talking about emblems. We need to play around our strongest units and our strongest traits. I know Darius and Draven is a comp. We got a little lost here. I'm not going to lie to you guys and say we didn't get lost. But at the very least, I think we got the board at the end, what we needed to at the end. So I want to put my best items on Darius, which I think are going to be Juggernaut, Spat, Bloodthirster. Let's put Noxus on you because you're actually the only thing we can put Noxus on. Quick Striker on you makes sense. And then we'll put Bruiser or Gargoyle on each of these units. Probably Bruiser on the spare unit and Gargoyle on the Darius, who kind of likes getting little wrapped here anyways. I think we're going to get rid of this. I don't think there's any flexible units here, is there? I think we need this, we need this, we need this. I guess this could be LeBlanc 2 instead. Yeah. Let's roll, though. I think we have a lot of gold to roll. We could think about a LeBlanc carry as well. Do we have anti-heal? We do not have anti-heal yet. I'm actually thinking LeBlanc makes a bit of sense, but with Quick Striker, it's a bit weird. We could just go IE and Bessa here. Might be the best thing. Actually, I had the LeBlanc in shop, I forgot. So, I think it's fine. get rid of this. We can't play 9 Noxus. Not really in the cards for us. We really just need to play more around these guys as much as possible. Kindred's probably my next in here. We unlock Kobuko, which makes things a bit difficult. I think not going for Nautilus 3 makes sense. I actually have items for him. I am rolling very, very slowly here. Let's just say we're rolling carefully. How about that? I think slowly is also pretty correct. Okay. So this Nautilus is eventually going to be 3-starred, I think. So we are looking for an Embesa item, or we could look for a Vow for my Swain. I think those are going to be the two most important things. I think we could have thought about LeBlanc 3 as well, but honestly, I'm not too worried about getting LeBlanc 3. We can have only so many 3-stars here, and yeah, I think we can only have so many 3-stars. We're already going for 3. That's a lot of gold. It's 27 gold to make a 3-star. So, this game, we've been staring a lot at our own board, so we haven't been doing the fundamentally sound thing in a lot of my games here. We should always hold on to Garen as well. You know what I just realized? We have so many 3 costs unlocked that are messing with my odds, but I think that is what it is. I'm not sure if I actually want my Darius on the edge here. Looks like it might die too often. I definitely want my Juggernauts on the edge. That makes a ton of sense just because it feeds my Darius. So, something for me to think about is that. This guy has elected to go 8, actually. Only hit 3 Jinxes, but has elected to go 8. So he's not helping me with the 3-cost reroll nearly as much as I would like. I think this Kindred is good, but I wonder if it's all that good. We just go from 2 Quick Striker to 3 Quick Striker, a little bit more attack speed. I'm not sure if that's better than the DR and the shielding from Lucian Senna personally. Or just defender whole board. I'm not really convinced either way, to be totally honest. We're so close. And we got her. Okay. So we can hold on to all this. We're incredibly rich right now. We diluted our pool by quite a bit. What is something that we want here? Blue buff for my Lucian Senna makes sense. I think Shyvana also makes a ton of sense here. I think Hodge makes sense as well. I'm thinking Lucian Senna pair is not that bad. But I think we're closer to Embesa 2, and Embesa 2 is kind of a beast, so we're not going to have the Lucian Senna on board for a long time, so let's not worry too much about that. We're a couple off. We should definitely send here. Which one do I want to play is my question. Let's just choose one. It's not super important. We're 1 off Draven. We should definitely spike here as much as possible. I think, in fact, Kindred is less enticing. Oh, gosh. Can't hold on to everything here, right? I needed to hold on to the Nautilus. Sorry about that. Just old man hands. All good there. Yeah, I think we could have thought about blue buff. Blue buff's not bad enough of Embesa, but we're thinking too far ahead. I even get in the trap of thinking too far ahead here. So I'm glad we didn't think too far ahead here. I think this Darius items, we can think about if we can make our Darius items a lot better or not. In my head, we can make them a bit better, but I don't know if we're going to make them meaningfully better here. The good news about rolling for Draven 3 is you can't really dig too deep here, because I should have rolled faster, to be totally honest, because he honestly makes the gold back just by existing. There he is, existing. If we were 1-off Knots as well, I think we could consider rolling for it. I think the big thing we're thinking about now is, I guess Nico was always the best in here with Arcanist, right? We're really thinking about Embesa 2 and Nautilus 2. I think we might as well hold on to it, because I don't think I'm going to 9 this game. I think people think really optimistically, and think they can get to 9 this game. I think 9 is... I guess 9 is pretty possible with Draven 3, but I think my closer spike is maybe Embesa 2 and then maybe hitting a Nautilus 3 for these items. I think Nautilus 3 is a non-trivial out. I wish I held all the Nautilus and we didn't get bench locked, but yeah, it is what it is. So we got the key components of my comp. I think my board is looking good. What big improvements can I make to my board from here? is kind of the question we want to be asking. So I have Shred, I have Anti-Heal, I have tanks. My Darius is, I don't want to say unkillable, but nigh unkillable. So I think that's kind of the main thing we want to think about is what can we like significantly improve our board for the next few rounds. I think 9 is really, really far away. Even if you notice for this guy, like they should not go to the 9, they should roll for this Sejuani 3. That's going to be the biggest spike to their board is rolling for Sejuani 3 here. What can they even add at 10? It's nothing meaningful. They have a better chance of hitting Lucian Senna on this level, and then obviously their spike is closer. So for me, I think my spike is closer here as well to roll on 7 for Nautilus 3, but we already do have a Swain 2, so I think leveling is completely fine here, to be totally honest. I think there's a pretty good argument for both. In this case, because I'm so close to Mbessa 2, which has 3 items as well, I think I'm going to level and roll. And we have 3 big pairs we're rolling for. Lucian Senna is also something we can level for. But yeah, I wonder if we should keep rolling here. Is there an item here that makes sense? Maybe just Sterix at this point. I don't actually have the Darius stats memorized over here, if Sterix is better or if BT is better. I would go on a limb and guess Sterix is a bit better here. So maybe I should have swapped my items. I have 3 removers, so I can surely figure it out. I think here, I'll have items for this Nautilus, of course. So I'll have a decent amount of items for this Nautilus. Does Mel do anything? I don't think so. I don't think either of these things do anything. So I think my closest spike is going to be this, and then this will be way stronger. A Nautilus 3 will be way stronger. That being said, I think adding a Lucian Senna could be quite strong, but we're going to go with our principles here and roll for the Nautilus 3. We're just like really close to spiking here. You know what's weird? You know, very, very weird here. I think this might be the strongest board. No, that can't be right. Surely this is a bit stronger. I think if I have a perfect world, we would look up... if I wanted to right now, I could look up Sterix versus not. Again, this person didn't hit Sedge 3, which would be the biggest spike to their board, I think. I think Senna 2 is also a big spike to their board, don't get me wrong. So if they felt like they were lacking damage, that would make sense. But I think it also makes sense to kind of roll for them. So hopefully you guys see that we need to like add to our closest spike here. I think that's really important when we're re-rolling. And insofar as emblems, I think we kind of like landed on a bunch of weird boards and we're trying to figure it out, and we're sacking our stage. It's okay if we take time to like figure things out. I think taking times to figure things out is totally fine, in my opinion. We really want to CC his entire team here. That sounds really, really good to me personally. I can have this Briar die. I'm totally chill with that. I don't really know if they think they're gonna fake me out there. But yeah, I think Sejuani 3 is a lot stronger here. So we ended up on a good comp. With emblems, you don't need to end up using all your items perfectly. In this case, I actually did get every single emblem. So maybe that was a bit of a high roll, but I had many, many reforgers, which I kind of knew going beforehand into it. But I think the big thing for me is that we tried to play around our most reasonable augments, the ones that were closest to our board. So Noxus was really good, and we had Briar there, and so we kind of headed down that direction and went from there, right? So I think the most important thing in this game was actually just choosing the closest direction to our board. So even starting on 2-1, when I only have one emblem, the thing that was closest to me was Jug Slayer. I already had Briar pair, Yasuo pair, so I already felt like I was playing towards AD here and would be playing towards it for a long time. So that's why I chose Air Axiom here, which actually makes our future decisions a lot easier, right? We could choose good for something, but we talked about how I'm playing a melee carry for a long time, so that doesn't feel as good. Totally acceptable to choose here, but I just felt like Air Axiom was something that I always want, and maybe it allows me to slam QSS instead, right? And And I think aside from that, once we go forward, I already have a Briar 2 here. And when we're choosing our emblems here, we need to choose the emblems that we want to play around. That's the most important thing. You can't play around all your emblems. You can only play around some of them. And here, it should be pretty obvious. It took me a while. So while I say it's super obvious, I think it took me a while to figure it out. But this was just a Noxus reroll spot or something to do with our Briar, right? Like, I think we don't need to think that far ahead. We just know that I have Briar on my board. So Juggernaut and Noxus was here. This is 4 emblems. It's really complicated. There's an infinite number of options that we could do here, and they could all be very, very successful. Just to be totally clear, they could all be very successful. But I chose something that is closest to my board now. This Briar could end up on my board at the end of the game, depending on how I play this. But if I choose these 2 emblems to play around, it can be very, very strong for me for a very, very long time. So I think here, you don't need to choose a comp that uses all your emblems, and you don't need to use all your emblems. You just need to like start tunneling down one to get down a path, and hopefully fit it down a comp where these emblems are complementary more so than anything. Fit it into a real board. I think sometimes people get confused and they try to cook too much. A lot of the times there's just a real board that uses like 3 out of 4 of these emblems or 2 out of 3 of these emblems, and the 4th one is good enough, or you can reforge later, which is exactly what happens to us. And obviously I end up high rolling here and hitting the Bruiser and the Quick Striker. But even aside from that, I think this was the key decision, was to start going down this path, because now look, I've made a bounce back angle by 4 streaking here, and this starts feeding into my streak later, which is really, really important, right? And that's kind of the key thing here. Yes, I got really great emblems, but even if I didn't get Bruiser or Quick Striker, I only got one of them, and then one of them was Gunslinger or Zon or something like that. It's no big deal. These these emblems would still be good. Would my cap be as high? No. Did I have great emblems? Yes. But either way, I would have had a pretty good placement here regardless, I think, even if I don't have the perfect emblems, because we chose the path that made sense from our spot. I think the other thing that we really, really wanted to think about was choosing a board that made sense based off of how my comp operates, not just all the traits, right? This GP looks really, really nice on my board. I can't lie to you guys. It looks really nice. Slayer, Vanquisher, it's a 3 cost, so we can roll for all of them. But the big thing that I'm missing in this comp is Frontline, and how the Juggernaut emblem works specifically, and how to get the most value out of it, is if I have more Juggernauts on board. So I know this looks nice, but let me tell you, my board right here, my board right here looks a lot better. I know the traits don't look as good, but it looks a lot better because I have more frontline. I'm rolling for better frontline right now, right? My Draven just needs time to scale. I have 2 DPS and 2 tanks here. I have a good balance of frontline and backline. And I have something else to roll for. And basically the main thing is, what are my main carries in the comp? And my main carries are Darius and Draven, right? For Darius, he needs more Juggernauts to die. He's not a bruiser. He's a defender, Jug, and kind of this beast carry, right? That's the thing that I need to play around. I'm going to give him more Jugs to feed him more HP. If he gets more HP, my Draven gets more frontline. That's all my Draven wants in the entire world, is just more frontline so we can keep auto-attacking, auto-attacking, auto-attacking. That's all we want. I could go for LeBlanc 3 here, blah, 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 blah. But look, these are the key units I'm playing around, and these are the items that I have right now, and this is the board that I'm closest to right now. I think that's the important thing. So in these emblems, just remember the traits look nice, but the more important thing is to get them into a cohesive comp where you have a good idea of what your comp is doing. Here, I'm just straight front to back and trying to feed my Darius as much HP as possible and get him 3-star and roll for multiple 3-stars between him and Nautilus. And I think the last important key point in this video for me is really deciding whether or not rolling or leveling is more important. Look, so many people ask me in my comps, especially the reroll comps, like, what do I put in when I go 9? And I just always think to myself, what 9 are you guys talking about? This board costs 1,000,000 gold. Like, I was really, really rich this game, and I still barely hit my Nautilus 3, right? Like, hitting 3 3-stars, 3 cost 3 stars, 27 gold, 27 gold, 27 gold. And then these 2-star forecasts are 12 gold, 12 gold. Our board is over 100 gold. How am I spending, pressing D and spending all that money on level 7 and then also going to 9? It's really, really hard, really unrealistic. The thing that's more important is, when is my closest spike? This is why you need to roll down faster when you're closer on 3 stars, right? Because your game should end with you on 3 stars. It doesn't end with you on 9. Your game doesn't end with you on 9 when you play 3-cost reroll. It's about what's closest to you in strength. And here, I could go 9. I could sell all my Nautiluses and add a Senna 1 to my board. But does that truly sound better to you guys than a Nautilus 3 with 3 items and like a Nico 2 and an Mbessa 2? I don't think so. This is what my board was before I rolled. I could go straight to 9 off this. I could go straight to 9, just play a Lucian Senna or whatever, just another Nautilus, and go straight to 9. But I'm much better off here rolling for my 2-star forecast, for my 3-star tank. I'm so close to this, and I'm so far off 9. For these next 4 rounds, am I going to sack it just to play a Lucian Senna 1? Absolutely not. That sounds terrible. What sounds better, more reasonable, and closer, and will win we rounds immediately is going to be just rolling here. The game's going to end, and even if the game doesn't end, it's still the right choice to roll for Nautilus 3 here and Mbessa 2 because I have the item. So don't think too far ahead is kind of my always classic thing, but also think about when your spike is supposed to be, right? When your spike is supposed to be. You can't spend all your gold on 7 and then also have a 9 board where you have Shyvana 2, Lucian Senna 2, Draven 3, Darius 3. This is so much gold. You must have an exorbitant high roll to do this. And I think my game was pretty high roll, and I still don't have enough gold to do all those things. So you guys need to choose your closest spike here. So in this video, hopefully you guys learned how to play around emblems better. I definitely struggled through finding the board, but once we found the board, I think it was simple, fundamental TFT after that. We got our Sunder, we got our anti-heal, we have a good balance of frontline and backline, and we were playing through our key units and their key traits. And that's the most important thing in TFT, not always getting 1,000 traits onto the board or anything like that. TFT is about winning the fight and how you win the fight, and that's how we do it, right? Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope you all have a great day.